lights and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Boardwalk.
Thank you so very much, Sergeant Susan Johnson in the Atlantic City Police Department. You may be seated. Before I get started, let me just say, Lieutenant Governor, they were standing, I thought almost I was the judge for a minute, until something I have a seat. But ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, it's an exciting night for Atlantic City, exciting night for the city, as well as the residents and certainly the stakeholders here in the city of Atlantic City. But we'd be remiss if we didn't go around and please, ladies and gentlemen, if I fail to call your name or acknowledge you, please charge it to my head and not to my heart. It's hot up here. The man that made me very nervous, First Lady Small, your boss is tough to work for, and he told me I better get it right. So I'm going to do my best to certainly to make that happen. So I'm going to acknowledge some of our dignitaries. Started here on the dais, starting with none other than our regional governor, the Honorable Sheila Oliver, our true assemblyman, John Amato, and the guy, if you ever want some good produce, it's got to be over at Mansell's in Northfield, New Jersey, so I put a little plug in for him, but none other than Mr. Vince Nazareth. Council President, Mr. George Stibbett, who has been nothing more than just a partner to the small administration. We've been able to agree to disagree. One thing about George Stibbett, he'll tell you right where he's coming from the door, and you can respect that. And Mayor Small is so honored to have George as our Council President and a partner in this administration. George Stibbett, our Council President. We also have two other council persons here. I see Councilman Morshad, I believe he's here. Councilman Muhammad. Please stand and be recognized. Former Councilman and former Mayor William Speed Marsh. Jesse, I wasn't forgetting you. I just wanted to make sure they were on their cue. The Honorable Councilman from the 6th Ward, Jesse Curtis. I told you I'm going to forget somebody. But former Police Chief Henry White. I'm going to move over to the Board of Education. We have our Vice President, Ms. Pat Bailey. Mr. Walter Johnson. I see one more former board member. I'm sorry? Matt Darty. I didn't get that far yet. We're doing school boards. If I missed any school board members, please charge it to my heart and not to me. Also, when we talk about partnership, we talk about the person who came into Atlantic City, a former mayor, understands our mayor's jobs are. We, in the small administration, and perhaps the city of Atlantic City, Lieutenant Governor, we are so honored that we have none other than Matt Doherty with us as your Executive Director of the CRDA, but has been a partner, has been a friend to Atlantic City and the surrounding areas, and we want to thank you publicly for all you do to make it happen. If you're a director, the Honorable Mayor will announce you during his presentation, but protocol would always have it that you acknowledge the former Judge Person, no matter where you're at, Judge Person. And like I said, I know I'm missing a few people. We have our new Executive Director. Mr. Mike Armstrong of the Atlantic City Municipal Utility Authority is hiding back in the corner. I believe this is his first or second week perhaps on the job, and we look forward to working with him in the very, very near future. To Reverend Colin Days, again, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, if I forgot you, charge it to my head. One person we cannot forget who just been appointed to Atlantic City, our new local finance director, Jackie, excuse me, but I can't pronounce your last name. Flores, please stand. This is the lady. This is the young lady that has been assigned to Atlantic City now, and that we will be working very, very closely with her, and that we expect a lot of good, nice things out of her, and she's expecting a lot from us as well. I'm wrapping up, but I just want to say to each and every one of you, I want to thank the mayor's staff, each and every one of the mayor's staff, and everyone in the city of Atlantic City who has been a part of this process of going through for the last 2 or 3 weeks, where you've been interviewed by the mayor to talk about your plans, or when you've been in the office taking phone calls trying to make this go off just right. We are being live on Facebook. We are being live on the City of Atlantic City's website and the Press of Atlantic City. And so therefore, the mayor wanted to make sure we got as many people as possible in here. And so we're so honored that that was able to happen. And so, ladies and gentlemen, y'all didn't come to hear me, let alone see me, but you can't miss me. Let me just take this opportunity to tell each and every one of you, as I stated in the beginning, how proud I am to be able to work for Mayor Marty Small Sr. This is not my first rodeo, it's my second, to be honest with you, and I tell you, I'm having more fun in my older years than I ever had. But he's given me that opportunity to serve as his chief of staff, and I am enjoying the ride all the way. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome our mayor, who is going to come today and give great news to the City of Atlantic City residents, a man who has a vision, a man who has gone from the bottom up, so to speak. He has worked his way up from a community person, from the Boys and Girls Club, from in school systems, recreation, etc., council president, and he has earned his spot where he is tonight, being the honorable mayor of the great city of Atlantic City. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and welcome none other than my friend, your mayor, who is going to give the Atlantic City residents nothing but good news. Honorable Mayor Marty Small Sr.
Good evening, everyone. And it's a great day here in the city of Atlantic City. Can we say great day? Great day. Yes, before I start, I would like to introduce to everyone the backbone of Mayor Small, and that's my family, and that's how we govern, starting with my lovely wife, Dr. LaQuetta Small, principal of Atlantic City High School. My aunt, who thinks she's my mom, Gloria Small. My Aunt Patty, my Uncle Sonny, my mother-in-law, who lives with us, Sharon Frazier, my namesake, Marty Small Jr., and the boss of the family, none other than Jada Small. I would also like to introduce the mayor's office staff. You met Chief of Staff Ernest Corsi. Special Assistant to the Mayor, Judge Persky. Confidential Aide, Hope Austin. Confidential Secretary, Danielle Caldwell. My Detail Officer, Carrie Dunbar. My aide, Deshaun Cash McKinley. And I know I drove this guy crazy during this 2.5 month plan. There was a working document all the way up until 5 o'clock today. But we got a great story to tell. We have a vision and the staff to execute said vision. So Bruce Weeks, who's my Director of Constituent Services. And I also want to mention the Lieutenant Governors, both of our Chief of Staff, Kim Holmes, who has been a godsend to Atlantic City, working with us on our agenda. We appreciate everything that you do. As well as Terry Tucker. Thank you for being here as well. I'm going to walk around. I'm going off script because the small screen is too small. No pun intended. But first we want to give a special thanks to Matt Doherty from CRDA, who made this vision tonight be possible. Thank you. As well as the people from Spectrum. And I want to read this. The Atlantic City Convention Center will host approximately 5 students from the Atlantic City Boys and Girls Club on Thursday, today, which will allow the students to get a first-hand look and the behind-the-scenes perspective of what it takes to manage a premier venue for conventions, meetings, and events. The relationship between the Atlantic City Convention Center, Jim Well and Boardwalk Hall, and the Boys and Girls Club focuses on community partnerships for the youth of Atlantic City, which allows the Boys and Girls Club to tap into Spectra, facility management expertise, workforce development, and mentorships. And partnerships like that continue to make it a great day here in the city of Atlantic City. See, if I would have stuck to the script, I would have been behind the podium and had my point. Speaking of the Boys and Girls Club of Atlantic City, the city, Hard Rock, One Atlantic, Ocean, Caesars, Botner's Auction, we're proud to partner to raise nearly $200,000 for the Boys and Girls Club during all of the Trump implosion festivities. So we thank everyone involved. Kudos to the Boys and Girls Club. And I would like to thank the Lieutenant Governor, Sheila Oliver, Vince Mazzio, Assemblyman, John Amato, Assemblyman, and Council President Tibbet for joining us today. Vengeance is mine, says Atlantic City. We're coming in 2021 like never before. And we're coming back with the vengeance. They wrote us off in 2012 due to Sandy. 2014, they wrote us off due to 5 casinos closing. 2016, they wrote us off because we were teetering on the brink of bankruptcy and the state was coming in to take over. So today, the modern day, COVID was designed to shut us down, but it's not. And we're coming back, every one of us, all of the stakeholders and partners in here, we're coming back with 2021 with a vengeance. I would like to introduce, and this guy's been everywhere, my special guest for the night, Bernie Sanders. Bern, he went everywhere, so the State of the City address is no different. So need to lighten the mood a little bit. But as our tagline say, it's a great day here in the city of Atlantic City. Can we say great day? Great day. All right, we came in office with a leadership quote that defines our leadership style. Many people handle power in different ways, but my style of governing best fits this quote by Simon Sinek, who's a British American author, motivational speaker, and organizational consultant. And it says, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of the people in your charge. And I take that responsibility seriously. And that's the residents, taxpayers, businesses, and all the stakeholders here in the great city of Atlantic City. Came in with a theme, an acronym-based theme. We wanted to change the climate and culture in City Hall. We wanted to do something that hasn't been done in a while, and that's not a knock against any other administration, because everyone has a different style. We wanted to hold city employees more accountable and raise the expectation level, and we've done that. And it's with this theme, each and every day I walk in my office, I read it to myself. And LET stands for how we want to govern: leadership, expectations, transparency, and stability. And A stands for accountability, credibility, and excellence in execution. It doesn't do any of us any good to have all these robust plans and we can't execute them. So I challenge my staff, I push my staff, I support my staff, I love my staff. And that's how we're going to continue to make this city great. Now, we're going to start the presentation with the main topic, COVID-19. As of yesterday, the city of Atlantic City, and I will take our response over any major city around. We've had 2,555 positive cases since the inception of COVID-19 and 58 deaths. That's 2,555 cases too many and 58 deaths. However, how did we get it done? We came out swinging. We called for testing sites before anyone else did. We tried to get a regional site at Baderfield, but as soon as we got the money from the federal government, which the great city of Atlantic City was the only municipality in Atlantic County to do so, we put that money to use. 2 testing sites, 1 drive up at Baderfield and a walkthrough at Showboat. In addition to feeding 3,780 senior citizens 2 hot meals per week, the city responded in a big way. Not to mention the field hospital and the vaccination center in this very building that we're in tonight. Atlantic Care is going to continue to do testing because it's extremely important that we don't get distracted by the vaccination and forget testing, which is key. Reliance Medical offers testing, ACCC, and also the city of Atlantic City, we're gearing up to do mobile testing, etc. with our COVID-19 CARES Act fund. The mega vaccination center, it's not an Atlantic City problem, it's a nationwide problem. We gotta get more shots in people's arms. Once the operation opens up fully, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, Atlantic Care is the medical provider. And you can schedule appointments at atlanticcare.org or on the city's website at cityofatlanticcity.org. This is for 6 months, but speaking to Matt Doherty, we want to have this center as long as the residents of Atlantic City needs it. And the goal is to get 2,400 vaccinations per day. And the city's response with our COVID funds, we got firefighter turnout gear, we got reimbursed for the police and fire overtime, we hired a contractor and gave city employees an extra 6% to disinfect the buildings. We were out front with the state-of-the-art thermal pass, which is a touchless system, which eventually we're going to integrate our payroll into. We're going to continue to educate the public with the health kiosk, and we have the touchless faucets, soap dispensers, and more. And we also want to retrofit the city council chambers to have public meetings as soon as possible. Here is the big picture of 2021. Our goal is to start the discussion, and we'll get more into it. When the projects happen, we need to rebuild the Atlantic City Boardwalk, except for the new portion that was built by the Army Corps of Engineers. In line with the Lieutenant Governor's vision, we need to create new industries. That's why we have the Atlantic City Restart and Recovery Committee. Can't do it on casino gaming alone anymore. We're going to develop residential and commercial development in our neighborhoods. And it's time for a new slogan. I talked to Matt Doherty, we are going to work with the good people from Meet AC because we are not telling the Atlantic City story like it needs to be told. I remember growing up, we was the world's favorite playground, and we acted like it. I was a kid, I was watching all adults, but we acted like it, the world's favorite playground. Now when you ride in town, you see over the overpass, welcome to Atlantic City, the Jersey Shore entertainment capital of the world. Is that what we resorted to? Just the Jersey Shore? That has to change. Big picture, relationship with Trenton. Lieutenant Governor, I value your support that you have given us. When we first met and I laid out my vision, you embraced it. You said a lot of the things that I was talking about, the city hasn't done, and in a great way. So we appreciate all the support that you have given us, and the residents of Atlantic City, we don't take that lightly. There's a new tax incentive bill that's out there that's designed to spur development here in the great city of Atlantic City. We need to take advantage of that. Sports gaming revenue. I talked to the Senate president, and I said that needs to change. New Jersey is now the #1 sports gaming market in the country. Let me take some time to talk some numbers. In the month of September, $748 million was made in the state of New Jersey for sports gaming, right? In the month of December, follow me, $996 million was made in the state of New Jersey, almost $1 billion. Governor Murphy tweeted Sunday that $117.4 million was made on the Super Bowl that night. That represented a 116% increase from the previous year. I like audience participation. How much money did the city of Atlantic City get from that?
0.
Yes, and that needs to change. We're not asking, we'll get into the financials, and I'm sure you'll be impressed. We're not asking to buy basketballs with that money. We're not asking to hire people with that money. We're asking to put that money on the side and just simple mathematics. If your budget comes in at $2 million and you have another revenue stream that's $15 million, the taxpayers are charged $185 million. Atlantic City, when you want $15 million in your pocket, we need to change that. And listen, let's be honest, I'm not breaking any news, and the Lieutenant Governor came down here in 2016 when she was an Assemblywoman. Her, Ron Rice, and everyone was against the takeover. And locally, no one fought it harder than me. But as soon as the state came in, and Tim Cunningham is here, the former local governmental services director, we had the partnership. We had to put all of that stuff to the side to make Atlantic City better. And guess what? The state isn't going anywhere. There's going to be a new takeover bill. But we can live with it because of the partnership that we have with the state. We don't always agree, but family don't always agree. Any relationship, there's going to be some disagreement, but it's how we do it. We do it in a professional way. We might be mad at each other for a day or two. Like Kim said, we fight, we fuss. Things aren't peaches and cream, but the city is in a better place today, and that's thanks to working with the state of New Jersey. One of the goals in 2021 is to find a new recreation center and multi-purpose center. Why? Because the city of Atlantic City doesn't own any of the facilities. We partner with the schools. We're going to work with Dennis Levinson. We already had a bunch of conversations. We need to beautify the city more with open space parks. And the county can do that. They can acquire land for that purpose. Citywide camera project. I know right now the Pacific Avenue project is being held up for more information. And I know that, and I'll talk about it later, the entire Atlantic Avenue is going to be repaved, and that's the time to put the conduit in there then, so we don't have to pay a contractor. But let's not kid ourselves. It can't be us versus them. And I thank you, Matt Doherty, for having that mindset to support the city of Atlantic City, because you get it. We need cameras in our neighborhoods. the Back Maryland, the Stanley Homes, the Carver Halls. We need those cameras in those neighborhoods. And we want to work hand in hand with the federal government, CRDA, to make that happen. Marijuana is coming. 67% of New Jersey voted for it. Right now in the state, I'm not talking about y'all, but the state needs to get the bill right so we know our direction. I'm morally against it. Never smoked a day in my life, never will. However, as mayor of the great city of Atlantic City, it's about the greater good. And if we can get business opportunities, new industries, more revenue stream through taxes, I'm for it. Pacific and Atlantic Avenue, another one of the LG's projects. We're working on a clean and safe program with code enforcement, the police department, public works. And there's a major announcement coming soon about a Pacific Avenue project that Judge Persky has been working hand in hand with unnamed individuals right now. And we need to increase the family entertainment. We have the Still Pier, but we need more than the Still Pier. We thank the Still Pier for their investment for over the years. But I'm excited about the new water park and an opportunity to develop something special in the heart of the city with the implosion of Trump Plaza. And we need to increase urban entertainment. If we really mean what we say about diversifying our offerings, we do everything well, but we don't do that well. There's a lot of urban centers, millions upon millions of people that's in a 3.5-hour drive from Atlantic City. If we have it, they will come. Let's value all dollars. It's extremely important to our success. And we need to improve the housing stock and promote living in AC. We don't do a good enough job with that. It's the best place in the world. That's why I proudly say that I'm Atlantic City born, Atlantic City bred, and when I die, I'll be Atlantic City dead. I love this city. We are going to educate the public through small business, and we'll get those details a little later. Investment, real estate, and entrepreneurial opportunities. But guess what? Everything isn't peaches and cream. When I took this office, I said, it's not going to be perfect, but my effort and my heart will be perfect. We don't get it right all the time. And quality of life needs to improve. We have a homeless and drug problem. And we need to change that narrative. When we talk about homeless, it drives me crazy when they say Atlantic City homeless. And those of us in this room from Atlantic City, we know they're not Atlantic City homeless. They are dumped here. And we have to stop that. That's the big picture for 2021. Now, we're going to take a deep dive into each department. So our department vision, and I would like to quote a scripture, Proverbs 29:18. Where there's no vision, the people perish. In Atlantic City, you have a mayor with a vision, you have a mayor with a plan, you have a mayor that is working hard every day on behalf of the good people of Atlantic City, and we are changing that narrative. How many people heard through the years, oh, city workers don't do nothing, they get paid a lot of money and they don't do anything? Not my city staff. We're not having that. The administration. I have a great partner and business administrator, Anthony Swan. Stand up. We want to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of each department. We're becoming a paperless municipality. That was a goal when I started in 2019. What? We the only place that still takes paper applications? You can't go online and do certain things? Our technology is light years ahead from when I first took this office. We need to move initiatives forward more quickly. And my staff will tell you that is a pet peeve of mine. I like to get things done. We like to make things happen. And I hate waiting because I care about this city. And the residents deserve better. You deserve better service from your city government. And we want to continue to boost the employee morale. I remember I was sitting in the business administrator's office with Kim Holmes, and there was a lady from the state's HR office. We were finishing up interviews. When I first came in, I said, The complaint was that city employees were ignorant in person and even more ignorant on the phone. I said we want to change that. And we got pushback. People don't like change. Who wants to answer the phone and says, it's a great day here in the city of Atlantic City. Mayor's office, Mayor Small speaking, I'm going to help you. But guess what? You just took the edge off the caller who was calling to complain. And that has sent shockwaves through the building. And everyone has embraced that new culture. We reward our employees with our Employee of the Month program and different things like that to show our employees that we care. And you're going to hear this theme, training, 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 training. We're going to continue to promote training and educational opportunities for our employees. And guess what, taxpayers? The city has entered into an agreement with Enterprise Rental Car for a 5-year lease program, where every 5 years, the city are going to replenish its fleet at a fraction of the cost and take away the maintenance. That's the administration. Outside of revenue and finance, my favorite department, the hard-working men and women in blue of Public Works. With Director Paul Jerkins and Assistant Director Crystal Lewis, please stand. We need to support this department. And I'm proud to say that my administration has supported every initiative from Public Works. Listen, we're in a pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, but we need to boost the manpower in Public Works. We're going to clean lots all year with the youth. You know Joseph Jingoli, Reverend Days, and the LIT program, where they hire people, young people in the summer to clean lots, working with the city. We're going to work through CDBG, and we're going to have the children that's going to be in the anti-violence program, One Neighborhood Evolution, to clean the lots during the winter as well. In addition, and I know everyone sees the difference, we got more street sweepers on the street to deal with the cleanliness of the streets. We have ward cleanup days where twice per month in every ward there's a deep clean with a dumpster in the ward for residents to throw out their goods, in addition to an expanded recycling program at the city yard. We are going to train our residents through CDL training. We'll get to that a little later. But that's a pipeline into a career with the City of Atlantic City Public Works. We're going to build a Public Works Academy, and I'm excited about this. We're going to give our people in the Public Works Department the necessary tools and education to succeed. And we're going to work with companies like Lincoln Tech, who is here in the City of Atlantic City, who we'll talk about that a little later as well. We are going to get our bang for our buck. The gold medal contract is up this year. We got to look at that. Did it yield the savings that we initially wanted? Is the city back in position to retake sanitation over? Do we have the necessary tools to do that? That's going on right now. And we're putting more trash inspectors on the streets because it's generating revenue for the City of Atlantic City. And to help our Public Works Department out, we're opening up next door the Department of Public Works Communication Center, where they can get information on pension and other educational opportunities as well. And Public Works often thinks that they're the stepchild because of the pay. We are showing that we care about their facilities. We're renovating the yard this year. Offices, we got new concrete floors out there. These guys and women are first responders. While we were sleeping last night, they were out there getting the snow up, and we appreciate you. ACPD, every single officer will get procedural justice training by the end of the year. And that is designed to take the bad energy away from a cop and a person doing a stop. Under this training, the police will hear your side of the story. Tell me why you were speeding. Is there a reason? Because sometimes you really might have to go to the bathroom very bad. You might be running late for work. But there's always different sides of the story. And this is going to slow down the negative relationships between the police and community, which I see former Chief White is here and current Chief Sarkos. They've worked hand in hand to turn that narrative around for our hardworking men and women in blue of the Atlantic City Police Department. We're going to have substations, Back Maryland, Stanley Homes, Carver Hall, Texas Avenue, where all of the major issues are happening. And we're working with CRDA. We're working with CRDA to get a substation on the Boardwalk, because that's needed as well, to support the Boardwalk merchants. And we want to continue to do that. This Pacific and Atlantic Avenue unit, I know Deputy Chief Pierce is in charge of that. We want to give 2 shifts. We stopped it when it was 8 to 4, but after 4 o'clock, y'all know what was coming back out there. We need the necessary manpower and tools, and we got people in the academy, and we're starting a new academy this week to make that happen for the people of Atlantic City. You shouldn't be harassed when you're trying to go somewhere and pick up lunch. More diversity in the higher ranks. My administration has promoted the most diverse ranks, the rank and file, class 2, and the superior officers than any other administration in the history of this great city. But guess what? They want to tell you that crime is a problem. Men and women lie, some political opportunists, but the numbers don't. Crime, major crime is down 33%. 33%. We have the Law Enforcement Mental Health Grant that the federal government, the Department of Justice, gave this great city. And we're working with Jewish Family Service, where we get vehicles that are retrofit to assist in finding homeless under the Boardwalk. We're going to have counselors working hand in hand with our great police department. And guess what? For small, petty crimes, we have a citizens reporting portal. You go home, somebody trips you tonight, you don't got to go down to the public safety building. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. And that's the improved technology I was talking about. We're going to expand the NCO program, the Popular Neighborhood Coordination Officer program. Man, sorry, we asked you for a lot, but we need to expand that. We have a homeless unit, and we need to recruit more females. Atlantic City's own, the first female deputy chief in the history of Atlantic City, Bridget Pierce. It shows what's possible. If my daughter, Jada, wants to be a police officer, and she wants to one day aspire to be a deputy chief, she can look at Bridget Pierce. This is important. Tasers for all officers this year. And here's why. It gives you one less option to use deadly force. And I'm glad that we don't have that issue in our great police department. Hey, how many of you, just raise your hand, we're going to be honest with each other. Raise your hand, even if you're not from Atlantic City, raise your hand if you heard it in your town. Man, the cops never come down my street. I don't never see a police officer. Lieutenant Governor, you can raise your hand too. Guess what? Accountability. Every police car is going to have tablets in it. And it's not to be on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. It is a GPS. And I tease the chief, and I got a great working relationship with the police. As Corsi said, no more hiding around Bakerfield or anything like that. And I'm not going to use the Dunkin' Donuts joke. I would never do that. But that is important, because at the end of each shift, you get a printout. The GPS is not going to lie. And I'm really excited about this. We're upgrading to the Exxon Body 3 cameras. Better video, better audio. But guess what? Your supervisor can now live stream your interaction. So if something was going on the first floor, a sergeant can log into the person's camera and watch how the officer is doing and can communicate two-way. And that's technology, ladies and gentlemen. The communications department, they're the first line of defense. The police, fire, EMTs, no one would know where to go if you don't get a 911 call answered. And we need to appreciate them. But we need some salary adjustments. $25,500, where you could go to maybe Galloway Township and make $34,000 to start, and 2 years in make $38,000. That's a financial decision. We invested in training these employees, but they leave us. Because you want to know what's attractive? Let's be honest. No one in this area, by miles and miles and miles away, gets more calls than our communications department. No one. So if you're making $25,500 and the next town over comes out, you worked in Atlantic, you did what? You worked in Atlantic City? With all that action? It's a financial decision, and we need to keep our own. They needed more employees. They got 23 currently. They need 32. Guess what we did? We gave them 33. And we need to continuously maintain our employees. The goal this year is not to do yearly training. We want to do quarterly training to make sure everyone is up on their game. And we invested in them. We have a communication center, training center on the first floor in City Hall. And those of you who've been in City Halls, I see Ron, the Godfather Jordan. He's a City Hall regular. Those old, grainy, dusty, wooden panels from 1970, they're still in some offices. So that office is due for a makeover, and we're going to support those hardworking employees. The fire department, we want to get new apparatus. We're working with CRDA, but the city is putting its own skin in the game. We're contributing $100,000. That's another leasing program where we get new fire trucks every 3 to 5 years. That's important in this day and time, and it's saving money. I challenge the chief to get more supervisory training. We want to repair all the firehouses, but guess what we want to do it with? Our firemen and women in blue of the Atlantic City Public Works Department. They're going to do the job to save us money. My favorite thing, it was on the address last year, but it couldn't happen because of COVID. We need to teach our babies, and I'm going to reference my son. If my son wants to be a firefighter, he needs to know what it takes to be a firefighter or a police officer, and not fall into the stereotypes that police officers are bad people, firefighters not a cool career. It's the best career that you can have. It's longevity. Those careers are always going to be needed. It is pandemic proof. But the Junior Fire Academy will allow us to start in the 4th grade as a summer academy like the police officers. So we appreciate that, and we look forward to hopefully starting that this year. We need to be more out in the streets, more community outreach for fire prevention and fire education. Not just coming to the steps or the door of someone's house to say, do you need a smoke detector, etc. We need to be out there more, including recruiting. And we need to diversify our rank and file and our supervisors. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what diversity looks like. This was our firefighter class that graduated the academy. We had 16 young people, 10 of them were double minorities. We had 3 female firefighters in that class. That's never been done before. We had the first Pakistan female firefighter in the history of the great city of Atlantic City. And this is what it looks like. Congratulations to all the recruits. Planning and development. We're going to have an auction in 2021, even if it has to be socially distanced. Because if you've seen our auctions, people out the door on top of each other. And that's great. It shows people are bullish on Atlantic City. We got to develop the master plan for all our parks. Micah do Tenant Park. We're excited about that. We did phase 1 last year. On Memorial Day this year, Memorial Day weekend this year, phase 2 will be completed. That would include lights for the playground, lights for the basketball courts back Maryland, as well as the city's first splash pad, where you walk around and the water just shoots up. We're excited about that. MLK Park. We're going to redo the basketball courts there. Weeks Park, which is a pocket park in Atlantic City. And we redid Kingston Avenue Park. And I know Councilman Kurtz and Tippett of the 6th Ward will be happy about that. We're going to have a kayak park. And the city did get some choice neighborhood grant funding. And speaking of grants, a lot of these things couldn't be done without the gentleman that I'm going to ask to stand up, our grants administrator, Jim Rotella. Our goal this year, and it's no offense to CRDA, we have these conversations all the time. S11, which a lot of people seem to skip over, that was pre-misery. It divided the city into two parts, and it took the one thing that the city did extremely well, you ask every developer, is to return the full powers of zoning and planning back to the great city of Atlantic City. Don't get me wrong. We have a tremendous working relationship. But as we seem to transition, whenever the state takeover ends, we need to show them that we can do this. So that's a start by bringing that back. We're working with New Jersey Community Capital on some properties in Venice Park. I see Mike Johnson from the Venice Park Civic Association. We've been working extremely hard. That's a project that started with former Councilman Marsh, and when I was the council president myself, with Matt Darden. We started that in 2018. We're making progress now. We want to work with nonprofits and community development corporations like the Fellowship of Churches to build up houses in the neighborhood and give our residents affordable opportunities. Transitional housing is key. What do we do with our homeless? We're having that conversation. And that's something that the Lieutenant Governor is at the top of her list, transitional housing. Our master plan will be completed for public distribution in March of 2021. Barbara Willie Dillon and Jacques Howard, please stand. Our goal is to have more cranes in the sky, because that's the only way that we're going to continue to improve our finances. We need to develop the rainbow base. We need to bring the middle class back. And I got exciting news about that a little later. We want to work with Blue Acres. Blue Acres is a program, it's a state program, federal government as well. Not Green Acres, this is Blue Acres. The difference is if someone is struggling, they can't pay their mortgage, and they're falling behind. Blue Acres could save you, could take your house. However, the goal is to create more open space. So we'll give residents an opportunity to speak to the fact of what can Blue Acres offer them. AC DevCo, tremendous partners. Chris Palladino, Elizabeth Turnick, they do a great job. And I'm gonna announce a project that we're partnering with AC DevCo on. But there are players here in the great city of Atlantic City. Their vision is my vision. And we're gonna work together to get some exciting things happening. As well as the Chelsea Development Corporation, which is another group of local business owners. Elizabeth Turnick is on loan to them as well. They want to get housing opportunities for residents in the Chelsea area, particularly around Stockton. CDBG. This is key. Is Mark Starr on here? The city of Atlantic City got an additional $1.9 million in CARES Act funding. That's on top of the $786,810 that we received. That's on top of what we asked the state for was $900,000, but the Lieutenant Governor gave us 1.2 because when she retires, she's going to live here in Atlantic City. I'm going to show you your retirement home a little later. So again, let's breeze through this quickly. Testing sites is extremely important. We want to give residents COVID-19 prevention kits. We still have our COVID information hotline. The city, and this is an announcement, the city will give small businesses funding. We have money through CDBG budgeted for that. We're working on the criteria and the rollout as we speak, but that is happening to support qualified small businesses in the great city of Atlantic City. And guess what? We're going to help with rental assistance. We're going to help with mortgage assistance. We have the funds to do that. And a lot of people are still struggling. One day, that eviction moratorium is going to be lifted. And the city is going to be there to assist our people in their greatest time of need. start the recovery of Atlantic City. I know people were saying, well, why do you want to have a job readiness program? There are no jobs. Yes, it is. This is not going to last forever. And we got to be forward thinking. We got to be visionaries to know that one day this is going to be over. And we're going to train our people in need. And we're already talking about working with ACCC to do that. The summer season is upon us. If this thing continues to head in the right direction, there's going to be a lot of jobs, and we're not going to stop. The anti-violence, we talked about that earlier with One Neighborhood Evolution. The re-entry program. We have been meeting with former Governor Jim McGreevey, who's like the state czar of re-entry. We have been meeting with Volunteers of America. Everything that we want to do, we put the puzzle together, vision comes in play. There's no need to have programming if we can't reintegrate our people back into society. Because I can't tell you the amount of conversations I had with people who have been in trouble. We all got people like that. The neighborhood I grew up in is filled with it. And people will say, hey man, I need a job. I ain't going back to jail. I'm telling you, man, I'm done. We call that jail talk. Are you really done? Is it up to us to put you back out here in a position of failure, or do we train you? And you get a certificate from ACCC working with our HR to say, Marty Small has completed this program and he's employment ready. We got to do that for our people. We're looking forward to that. Solicitor's office. Mike Perangini, stand up, please. That's our solicitor. We started this role and changed the culture in 2016. And you're going to see a little later why 2016 is important. That's when I went to leadership. I've always been a leader. And I'm never going to forget, in Speedy Marsh, I got to thank you for this. You put me in my place. I was a young, ambitious guy. I really didn't understand, like with Speedy, man. You've been the council president for 4 years. Let me get it. One day he sat me down, it was me and him. It was an argument. But I came back to him the next week. I said, Speedy, you right. He said in Speedy's voice, well, man, you ain't got to be the council president to be a leader. He was right. Thank you for teaching me that. So, 2016, we changed the culture in the department. I didn't allow any change orders on the agenda, and people hated me for that. So what? I'm protecting the taxpayers. We streamlined the office. We hired 2 new attorneys. Reduction in legal fees. $2.4 million was budgeted in 2020. We spent 1.1. Now listen, being transparent, a lot of that was probably due to COVID, but we was never going to hit the 2.4. We want to bring those expenses down. Diversity in the office. It was one of the most non-diverse offices in the great city of Atlantic City. We hired a strong Latino, and we hired a young African-American genius in Matthew Sykes and Jorge Combs. No more change orders. And guess what, Atlantic City? Like we don't have that elephant on our back, the old casino tax appeals. All of the big legacy cases are settled. So we started from scratch. Licensing inspection. This was on my goal for last year as well. How do we have this phenomenon called Airbnb or whatever else you want to call it? And we didn't have a policy to regulate it. Dale Finch and I sat down. Director Finch, please stand up. And we worked with City Council. And we got it passed at the last meeting of 2020. But it was effective in 2021. So we have, working with host compliance, one of the best policies around when it comes to short-term rentals. The Boardwalk trams are out to bid. I know some businesses may not like it, but this gets the city over $500,000 per year. Women house inspection, working with CRDA, more monitoring. Matt Doherty's goal as well. We're taking the women houses out, we're repurposing them to give people a better place to live. We're going to continue our shared service agreement with Vinton and Longport, Margate, and Pleasantville to provide elevator inspections. Why? We get 80% of the money. That's not a bad deal, right? We need to analyze our parking situation with the parking meters. Is the city getting the best deal? Do we go out? Do we look for something else to get more bang for our buck? That's a discussion that we're having. And we want to revamp our parking enforcement. I know I'm offending some people in here, but we really need to be like the Philadelphia Parking Authority. So, with that, we're coming up with a plan to provide better supervision and more manpower there as well. And Matt, we're coming to you again, baby. We're going to CRDA for $1 million in demo. I called Matt, Director Finch, met with me. He said, man, look, I know you are a CRDA board member. Think you can get us some more money for demolition? And it's working. A lot of these dilapidated properties that set for so long that has been eyesores. 4 people called me about the former church on Connecticut Avenue. That's one. Information technology. I want to give a huge shout out to Patrick Quinn. I can't say please stand because he's standing. Chief of Staff Ernest Corsi threatened Patrick the other day, said that you do more work for the state of New Jersey and the lieutenant governor than you do for the city. I think Patrick is secretly trying to leave us. But we would never get in your way. But I want to tell you, Patrick, that it has been an extreme pleasure to partner with you. Our vision is the same. A lot of the things that you wanted to get done in initiatives didn't get done for whatever reason, but we're knocking them out the box now. We will have Gov Pilot completed by the end of 2021. That's an government efficiency software that allows you, if you leave the convention center, to take a picture of the pothole, and it gives you a play-by-play where your problems are, who's solving them, who's handling them, etc. It's governmental accountability, and this is what this administration brings. Our website is night and day. I hated it. And I told him, I said, look, with all due respect, this is not a reflection of what Atlantic City should be. And we gave Patrick the necessary tools to succeed to incorporate that vision. We have a contract for augmented reality. We're not just going to market the city, we're going to do it with businesses as well. So, for example, if someone comes out to City Hall and they point their smartphone at the logo outside of the building, it'll give you a live history of Atlantic City Hall. If you were going to the tax collector's office and hold up the phone by the door, it'll give you a history of that as well as forms to fill out. We're taking this technology thing to the next level. And we really need to change the website. We need a lot of changes. When I first became mayor, every employee didn't have an email. How are we a multi-million-dollar corporation in a billion-dollar city, and I can't get in touch with everyone with a click of a button? But that changed. But cityofatlanticcity.org is a mouthful. It's much easier if you say the website is coac.gov, because we're government. NeoGov, and I'm going to save that when we get to Alexis. That's Alexis Wader's baby. NeoGov is a human resource software that allows you to apply for jobs online. The city is out of the Stone Age, but it shows in order who needs to approve. And I don't like getting 6 approvals and the state says decline. My feelings be hurt. But sometimes they gotta do that. We got a new keyless entry system for City Hall, the yard, and the public safety building. That'll be implemented in 2021. We want to get up with the Joneses. We want to get a city